Hi, my name is Ghiselle and this is my podcast Smells Like New Talent. In this podcast I will talk to multiple upcoming musicians about them, their music and their future visions. If you're looking for new music, this is the place to be. This episode, Haitze.
We keep on dancing. We dance the night away. We keep on dancing till the morning come around. We keep on dancing. We dance the night away. We keep on dancing till the morning come.
I say hello to Haitze, welcome in the podcast.
Hello, great for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Could you tell quickly who you are, where you're from, and what music you make?
Of course, yeah. So my name is Haitze. I'm 23 years old. I'm a guitar player, singer, songwriter from the Netherlands, and I make indie pop music with a little bit of a rock twist. And I released an EP 2 months ago, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
So that in a nutshell.
Yeah. And you use your own first name as your artist name, Haitze. Was that a conscious choice or did that just happen?
Yeah, it's like I chose my first name to be the name for the act, for the artist, because as a reminder for myself to keep on working, because I played in several bands before, and then we had a just a band name, not a name from a person, and that's always a little bit how do you say that? There's a moment where you have like, I'm now spending time in this project, but it doesn't have really my name on it, so just in another moment they can kick me out, like it's not your project, so goodbye. And all the time I put in that, it's like wasted time, so I thought I gave it my own name, so it's my project, and it reminds me to work hard and put all the time in it I can put in the project. So
Yeah. And the guitar is a really important instrument in your music. Was that also the first instrument you learned to play, or how did you get in touch with music?
it's not the first instrument. When I was a kid, I went to what's called in Holland AMV. It's like AMV. It's like a basic course for children to learn music, to sing, to play an instrument, and dance and that kind of stuff. And you can choose the block flute. How is that in English?
A kind of flute.
A kind of flute, yeah, a wooden flute or something. And how is this called in English? In Deutsch is een glockenspiel, een glockenspel.
I think in English it's also a glockenspiel. It's
cool.
just that word, but
So I chose that as the instrument because I wanted to play the drums later on. But we live in a small house with neighbors living close to us, so my parents said we're not going to do that. So I went to an instrument market, and I went to the piano and guitar and some other instruments. But the teacher who was teaching guitar at that music school, I guess it's that called, it was the nicest teacher, so I chose the guitar, and I was like, I think 7 or 8 years old when I started playing the guitar. So yeah.
so you were an early you learned the instrument early.
Yes.
And to which music did you listen to growing up?
A little bit classical music, because my father plays piano and plays classical music, so I got a little bit from that. And we there was a program on TV. It called Kids Top 20 in the Netherlands. I don't know if it exists right now, but I watched that every Sunday, and there was like a chart from 20 songs, and they were all pop songs, were popular in the Netherlands at that moment. So yeah, really the pop charts, and also MTV and TMF were a thing with video clips, so I watched that also. So really the pop music I was already into at that moment.
Okay. And if I'm right, you graduated this year for the education music teacher at the conservatory.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Why did you study music teacher and not the guitar, for example?
Yeah, it was a difficult decision because I wanted to study the guitar in first place, but it's you have to do an audition for that study. So I spreaded my chances to get on a study like that. So I also decided to audition for the music and education study. Um, so I first did the auditions, and I was thinking, yeah, when I'm going to study guitar, I have to be really dedicated and 24/7 study. So I was a little bit afraid to lose the joy of music I had before. So I thought, I'm going to study the music and education study. So I also have a little bit of financial freedom, because I can be a music teacher, and besides I can put my time in my own music. So it doesn't, there's not a lot of pressure, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, overall reason.
And are you a music teacher already, or?
Yeah, 3 days in a week I'm a music teacher.
Cool. And where do you do that? Do you do that at just a music education program, or at a school, or?
At a high, is it called high school here? Secondary school? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
high
like
school, yeah.
high school, eh? Yeah. I'm a music teacher at a high school.
Cool. And how do you experience that?
Yeah, it's really fun because I also went to high school and had music, and I was at that moment also just starting playing the guitar, so I know a little bit what I experienced, so I can take that with me to do it maybe a slightly better than I had in my high school. And yeah, there are some children who are really into music and are really greedy to learn about music. Is that how you say it in English? I don't know. I'm very sorry for the English people who are listening this and think that guy sucks at English. So I'm sorry.
I think they will understand.
So yeah, it's really cool to do that with young children and being at the start from something. But not every child will do something with music in the future, but there are always one or three in the class who are maybe going to make it big or something, and that's really cool to be be there from the start or something, or motivate them or help them in a kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go through your bio for a bit, because it says Haitze, inspired by skies and electricity. Lightning strikes can be seriously dangerous, but they are really beautiful to watch. So are Haitze's songs. Could you explain that?
I was afraid that you will start about it, but
Oh.
yeah, it's, I don't know. There's something about lights and electricity which inspires me or something. It just looks beautiful. I don't have a good story around that why, but and about that second thing you noticed is because some lyrics in some songs sound maybe a little bit heavy sometimes, like, is this guy doing fine or something, is when when you read the lyrics, but the songs on itself, like the arrangements and the productions, don't really sound that heavy. So it at the first sight it sounds beautiful, like the lightning, it looks beautiful, but it can be really dangerous. So the lyrics are sometimes not that happy or something. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
I understand. So you say you're kind of inspired by Lightning then. And thereby, your bio says that you're also inspired by artists as Sam Fender, James Bay, Bombay Bicycle Club.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a playlist called Haitze with those and
Yeah.
some more musicians in it that inspire you. And I think almost all Sam Fender songs are in it. What does he have?
Yep.
What inspires you about Sam Fender and his music?
In first place, I'm a guitar player. So the first thing I listen to are the arrangements and the guitar playing and the sound. And what really, what I think is really cool is what he's making is kind of indie rock music. But when you think about rock music, you have that heavy distorted guitars. But his guitar sound is really, really clear, but also heavy, and that's weird, but really cool. And when you listen further, his lyrics are really inspiring. He uses cool metaphors and yeah, heavy themes he sings about. So yeah, that's kind of what I think a song needs is like a really good arrangement, really cool sound, and also lyrics with like a deeper layer in it.
Mm. And you released an EP this year. We'll talk about that later. But on the EP, there's a song called "Leave It to Us," and I heard that Sam Fender is the main reason that the song has lyrics. What's that story?
Yep. Yeah. I had most of the time I start writing songs by getting my guitar and play it in like a Logic Pro or something and make an arrangement and like put some jabberish vocals on it. So I had the song, but I didn't had like lyrics. So I went to the Sam Fender concert in March, like one of the last concerts before the Corona drama went on, and it was sold out in Paradiso in Amsterdam, and yeah, it felt like we were one big community in that hall. A lot of people around between the 18 and 20 years old, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but it really felt like we were one and we were fighting against the government or something. But that it isn't that heavy. But it felt like that moment. So I thought, yeah, I have to write a song about being young, and yeah, we as young people really get chances to develop our talents and stuff, but later on there's also the government telling us you're not able to yeah, put out that art. Yeah, it sounds a little bit weird, but like now the corona pandemic, the art forms don't get really a lot of money from the government. As you look in Germany, they get a lot of money because they are not able to play the music or get in the theaters and something. That's one example. I mean about in first place there is a lot of space to develop your talents, but later on they also telling you like it's not able to develop it further or something. I mean, I hope you understand a little bit what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. So the crisis, the corona crisis, does really have an impact on someone as a musician.
Yeah, I think on a lot of musicians.
Why won't you leave it to us instead of messing around? Why won't you leave it at us? Because the future is ours.
Last thing about inspiration, because I can imagine the virus also and lockdown, of course, have an influence on your inspiration. Maybe did that happen in a good way or in a bad way?
Ooh, I think in both ways, because in the first place, when we're all stuck at home, I thought, all right, now I have got a lot of time to write another EP or an album or I don't know. But when you are like, okay, and then you write like 4 or 5 songs, and they are all about the situation where we're in right now, um, which also other artists are doing right now. I think writing about the situation where we're in. So that's like the other side of the medal, how we call it in Holland, de andere kant van de medaille. Um, so yeah, it there came kind of 5 songs really quick, and I thought, okay, I'm going to write further and make an album, or I don't know, and but you're like really stuck in that 5 minute quarantine vibe, and in that way of thinking, and only able to write about that because there are not happening other things to write about. That sounds really sad, but yeah. So in the first place, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to write a lot of songs, but when you wrote a few, you're a little bit stuck. I think a lot of artists can relate in these times
Yeah.
because yeah.
All the songs have the same theme, I guess.
Yeah, and because you're not doing a lot, you're not making new memories, or you're not experiencing new stuff what's going on outside where you can write about. Because I write a lot about things I see on the streets, or things I experience while being on the road or being somewhere else than at my attic at home.
Yeah. You started releasing music only this year. First some singles, then an EP with those singles on it and some new songs.
Mhm.
How long did you keep your songs for yourself before releasing them?
Oh, good question. As I mentioned before, I also played in bands, and in the bands I was just a guitar player, and I also wrote on the songs, but I was not a singer. So I was mostly writing like arrangement wise, so not writing lyrically. But at my study at the conservatory, I also had a course called songwriting, so I was already writing lyrics and full songs for myself. Um, yeah, I think 3 4 years. There are some songs I kept for myself, yeah. But there's also one song. It's on the. It's not on Spotify, but when you buy the vinyl or the CD, it's a bonus track on that from the EP. That's a song who is 2 years old, like really old, but it felt good, so I decided to put the song on. So yeah, I'm already writing not that long, I think 4 years, and there are songs from then I didn't put out because they didn't felt good. So
Yeah. And how does that feel then when those songs are out in the world and everyone can listen to them?
whoa, it's really scary. I remember the first time with the first single. Um, that was a really special moment because it was played for the first time. Before it went out on Spotify, it was played on national radio. So that was also really weird to hear yourself on the radio because, um, yeah, as I mentioned, I played guitar really early, but I'm not that long a singer. So it was also really weird to hear your voice singing on the radio. It was really weird. Um, yeah, and it also make me proud, but it's also weird because something um you made in your house, because I made all the songs in my house, so not in an expensive studio or something. So all of that started like in my really small attic studio kind of thing, um and it's now out in the world for everyone. So that's a really weird thought.
Mhm. And that EP is called Rectify and was released at the end of June.
Yes.
Could you tell a bit more about the process of making the EP? How do you, for example, start writing a song or?
Yes, as I told you before, most of the time, because I'm a guitar player and most of an instrumentalist, I start with the arrangement. So I get my guitar and I noodle stuff, and I think, oh, this a cool riff, and I put it in my computer and build stuff around that and noodle some vocal lines in it, and then the lyrics start mostly. So I'm not that guy who writes out of lyrics. I find that it's really difficult, but mostly out of the arrangement. And I'm making a demo, a pre-production kind of thing, and my keyboard player from the band, Danny, helped me a lot with the production because he's really good with mixing and producing. So when I had the pre-production demo, it's a word from now,
Yeah.
a pre-production demo. I went to Danny and we sat down at my house or his house, and we stripped the song and we're like, okay, what does it really need, and which takes do we have to do again, because they aren't that cool, they aren't that well recorded. So yeah, in a nutshell, so guitar, noodling around, put it in my computer, make a production, and then suddenly comes a lyric, and then I went to Danny to polish the songs and finish them, and at the last step he mixes the songs and he mastered the songs. So
Okay. And is there an overarching message, or do all the songs tell a different story?
yeah, all the songs are telling their own story, but it's called Rectify because Rectify means like it's in my opinion a really cool word for recovery. So all the songs have something to do with a certain emotion which covers recovery, but the songs are really telling a different story by themselves. So
And do you have a favorite track on the EP, or isn't that possible to choose one?
oh, really good question. It depends. Maybe I'm. If you ask me this question tomorrow, I will say another song. But I'm really proud of The Outside. It's a really small, intimate song with just the guitar, vocals, and some crazy horn samples. Um, there was a really special moment because all the songs were recorded and were done, but I needed one like mellow song to break the dynamics in the EP a little bit. So I wanted a song like that. I remember that a song called "The Birthday Party" from the 1975 came out, and that was also a song with like a really sloppy acoustic guitar and some weird production around it. And I thought, yeah, I need something like that. So there was a song. This was a song that wasn't made with playing the guitar into the computer and make a production. It was just me, a guitar, and I recorded it in. I did record it in Logic and put some samples I had from an old song which didn't make the record, from a horn. The horn instrument is like a crazy trumpet, but I think it's more beautiful than a trumpet. It's like a little bit deeper sound. So I put that samples into this song. I had to transpose it because the other song was in another key, but I put it in. So I'm really proud of that song because there are so less instruments. It's so small, but it really sets a vibe, and that's really cool in my opinion. So I'm really proud of that.
You can't tell what's inside someone's mind. You can't see by only looking on the outside.
time to play the game of this podcast. I ask every
yes.
artist to answer as much this or that questions as possible in exactly 1 minute to get to know them better. So, for example, I say pop or rock, and then you choose one. So, do you
Alright.
dare to beat the number one?
What's the score of the number one?
The number one is James Berkey with 22 answered
Ah.
questions.
James. Okay. I dare to beat him. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I told you before I'm really bad at taking decisions, so I hope it will turn out well.
We'll see. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Electric or acoustic guitar?
Electric.
Original or remix?
Original.
90s or 10s?
Ooh, 90s.
Digital or vinyl?
Final.
Instrumentals or lyrics?
Ooh, shit. Instrumental.
Fender or Gibson?
Fender.
James Bay or Bombay Bicycle Club?
Haha. Bombay Bicycle Club.
Reggae or folk?
Folk.
Dancing to music or listen to music?
Listen to music.
Coachella or Glastonbury?
Glastonbury.
Concert or festival?
Concert.
The Beatles or the Beach Boys?
Ooh, the Beatles.
Festival tent or open air?
Festival tent.
Chorus or verse?
Chorus.
Singer-songwriter or band?
Band.
Make music or play a live show?
Make music.
Silence music or loud music?
Silence music.
Old music or new music?
New music.
One Direction or 5 Seconds of Summer?
Oh shit, 5 Seconds of Summer.
Ballad or a beat?
Ballad.
Time's up. You've got 20 questions, so that's second place.
Oh shit, second place.
If you had 2 more, you were first place. But it's a great score. It's a great score.
It were hard questions though.
Yeah, it's fair. For example, digital or vinyl. You said vinyl.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that your EP is also on CD and vinyl.
Yes. The final is almost ready. It took a while, but they're also in a few weeks available on vinyl. But I will post that online on my Instagram. So if there are people who are interested in vinyl,
I am.
nice.
How is that to have your own music on vinyl? Because a vinyl it's a whole experience.
Yeah, it is. It is. I had it with the CDs who came in first already. That's also what I mentioned before. Is like you made that in your little room, and now it's on a physical thing. So that's really weird, but also really cool.
Yeah. And I also asked you instrumentals or lyrics. Was a hard one, I guess.
It was really hard.
I'm not sure what you chose. Was it instrumentals or lyrics?
I chose in the way of panicking a lot behind my microphone. I chose instrumental, but that's a difficult one because lyrics are like 50% of or more of the song. But because I'm started playing the guitar at a young age and I'm more like an instrumental guy, I chose instrumental. Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to achieve with this project in the short term and long term?
What's the short term? Is it like 2 years or 5 years or?
Let's say 2 years.
2 years. Ooh. In 2 years, I have put out at least a second EP, and I'm working on an album, but it's not out in 2 years yet. And I hope I at least played a show at Eurosonic.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's hard to say because we all don't know when it's possible to play festivals and stuff again. There are already a lot of cool things with 1.5 meter distance concerts going on, so I hope to play one of that in the short term. But yeah, it's difficult to tell what's possible on the short term, so I hope I play in 2021 or 2022 a show at Eurosonic, and yeah, we have to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
And on the long term was also the second question, right?
Yes.
On the long term, I hope to play Lowlands Festival. That's a really big dream for me to achieve. I hope that will happen on the long term. And I also want to bring out an album. And I also hope that I have a lot of people who, stuck to my music and really into my music and love the way the music is and feeling a connection to the music. So, yeah, that last thing is the most important thing for me. Yes.
Yeah. And last question. Are you working on new music now? I can imagine you are. And maybe planning to release new music soon?
I am working on new songs. And we are looking with the band to go to the studio like this fall. So I hope to bring out some new stuff very soon, but I can't tell you about it. So if you want to stay tuned about that, follow me on Facebook and stuff.
Okay.
We're working hard on new stuff, so I'm really excited for that.
Nice. I'm excited to hear it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And maybe I'll speak to you again sometime.
It will. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the 6th episode of the Smells Like New Talent podcast. If you are an upcoming musician and want to be featured in the next episode, please DM me on Instagram @smellslikenewtalent or send an email to smellslikenewtalent@gmail.com.